Hill, the founder of, start that all over. I'm Jason Hill, the founder of the Owwll app, and tonight we're going to have advanced training, right? So a little different than our past meetings, past Zooms that we do every 2 weeks have really been introductory Zooms where we really go through the app, we share our screen, and we show everyone the basics, how to make a phone call, how to receive a phone call, how the reviews work, and all the things that you see under the menu, and really give everyone the basic understanding of how the platform works. Tonight, we're going to have an advanced meeting. We're really going to go through the app for about 10, 15 minutes. Brian is going to take over and he's going to share inside the app some of the advanced things that many people don't even notice exist in the app. There's little functions that are in there that are very valuable tools when used properly. And then after that, we're going to go outside of the app. We're going to talk about how do we leverage it on LinkedIn, right? How am I personally leveraging it, right? You see all these people that have downloaded Owwll, right? So I am doing the same thing that everyone else is doing outside of the app to get people to come into the app to call me myself. And we're going to talk about how to partner with other podcasters on the app, and same thing, how to get outside the app to help your business, and then also leverage it as a tool, for all types of businesses out there. Most people are in similar shoes, and you could find one of the things we speak about tonight to really help your business out. So I'm going to pass things over to Brian, and he's going to kick things off. And Brian has the number one amount of calls, I think. I think he surpassed me this week, if that is true. We keep going back and forth. So he has the number one amount of calls on the platform, I believe, and then I'm number two. So I'm one of those people. I do use the technology. I'm not one of those founders that talks about it and then you never see them in the platforms that they're designed at the end of the day. So go ahead, Brian, kick things off.
All right. Can you guys see my screen? You should be able to, right?
Yes, we can.
All right. So that's good. So you guys will see there are different categories even right here on the home screen. You have the active owls, the new owls, featured owls, and if you go down, you will see the recently active owls. So one of the biggest things that most people miss right here on the home screen is they miss this view all. Here, scroll down now, hold on. It's running a little slow because I'm also running Zoom, so obviously things respond a little slower. If it gets too bad, I'll switch to my actual phone and we'll just do it from there. But you can see right here, this is a pop-up. Okay, there it's going to pop up. Let me go back. All right. Now we should be good. All right, so if you click View All, let's just go to New Owls for an example. If you click the View All, it should give you a drop-down menu, so to speak, or a list menu, I should say, of all of the new owls. So now you can see who's active. Whoever has a green dot or the live, that means that they are available. You could call them right now. I also want to show you another feature. If you want to follow someone, you click that little grayed out owl and you're going to see it turn gold. Now, let's just say I want to follow Elisa, but I don't want a notification every time she goes live. Then I would open her profile. And once her profile opens, you'll notice that the little owl in the upper right corner here is gold, but underneath it, it has a little bell. If I click on that bell, it's going to give me the option to follow without notifications. So that's important to know. If you want to follow without notifications, now you can, and instead of a check mark here in this little bell, it puts a little minus sign. So just a minute little option. You can follow without a notification, and that way you can still follow them and find them again under My Owls. So now if we go back, it'll take us back to the list, where if you hit the home button at the bottom, it's going to take you back to the home screen. So that's where you can see all these different owls. These are all under new owls in the new owl category, which means they're in the new owl category for the first 30 days. So that means they are 30 days or less old if they have the new banner under their profile picture, or they're in the new owl category. There's a lot of other ways you can search and filter. If you hit the search and filter down here at the bottom, if you want to filter or search all owls, you can do that. So we'll just wait for that to load. There it comes. So here it's under all owls. You also have featured or My Owls. You see those tabs at the top. So you can do that if you want to filter. I always look under all owls, but if you want to look under calls taken, and we can leave it on high to low just for fun. Then you hit the apply filter, and you're going to see who has taken the most calls on the entire platform, which I believe is Jason. However, if he's not live, it's going to put all the live people first in order of the most calls. So Cassandra actually has the most calls of anybody who is currently active on the platform, because remember, at the top of the list, it's going to put whoever is active so that they're available to be called first. So if we now scroll down, you're going to see when we go off the active owls, you're going to see the number jump back up to high numbers, because you're going to get to, say, Jason, for example. And I believe he has the highest inbound calls of anybody on the platform. So we just have to wait till we get down past all the ones who are currently active, which there's a bunch of people active right now. That's awesome. Just wait for it to load here.
Brian, it's a little distorted. I'm not sure.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We still get
switch.
I think we get the point.
Okay.
But the images are going. It's probably because you're doing. Yeah, it's because you're doing Zoom and also BlueStacks at the same time, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can switch to in a second here. But if you notice right here where we ended with the currently active, it jumps back to 456 and then 422. So now you're seeing the new amount of people who aren't active. Now it's going to give you the filter of highest to lowest on their calls. So with that, we're going to jump back out of there. And if you want, Jason, I can switch devices as well and go through my phone and share the screen.
Why don't you do that? I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you just went over in more detail, how to use it to your advantage. So if you notice, I had 1,500 people that are following me. So one nice benefit is when I go live, it pushes notifications out to 1,500 people, right? Of course, people can follow me without notifications because I go live every single day. A lot of people do not want to get a notification every single time I go live. The reason why I bring that up, it's to your advantage to go live more and alter your price, right? Often, you'll see people on the platform going from $50 down to $7, because the more that you're active on the platform, then often people will follow you because they see that you're on the top category, active owls. So, changing your price is something that I highly recommend doing, because more eyeballs are on your profile. And when more eyeballs on your profile, what ends up happening is they click your Instagram link, they click your LinkedIn link, right? And they go over there to read about you. And then they're going to ask to connect with you there. So at the end of the day, 100 times better, Brian, by the way, crystal clear. Yeah. Before it looked like Nintendo and we just went to PlayStation 4, right? it was like that.
All right.
So at the end of the day, going live, does pick you up a lot of followers. And then when you drop your price lower, more people then will see that lower price, and then they'll immediately jump on a phone call with you. So it does benefit you to go live more frequently. Okay, all yours, Brian.
All right. Did you see the questions in chat? Did you want to just answer that while you're on a roll?
Sure. Let me go. How does changing your price help? And I was going to ask the same question, Karen. So changing your price, because if you're not live, if you go live once a week for 1 hour, right? You're only pushing out notifications to so many people, right? Let's say you had 10 people following you, right? So that would only get 10 notifications out. And then you have only 2 chances to get phone calls from the 10 notifications or who happens to be in the app at that given time, right? So let's say there's 50 people in the app, they're scrolling through all the active experts, which let's say there's 15 to 20 active experts right now, right? So when you have a bigger following, right, you have a better shot at getting a call if you have more notifications out. So over time, if people keep seeing that you're live at a higher price, what ends up happening is when you reduce your price and they come in, they're like, ooh, I always want to speak to that person. They're not $50 any longer. They're now $5. It's an opportunity that they're going to take, and they're going to jump in and speak with you. And of course, you could take it a step further, which we're going to get into detail tonight about, is posting on social media, saying, hey, just create that habit of saying, hey, every Thursday I'm on Owl, for $10 for 10 minutes to chat with me one-on-one, to pick my brain about anything, to network with me, whatever you'd like to do. Someone just posted in the Facebook group a great example of that. Jennifer Greigel, I believe she might be in here, posted a beautiful image in the Facebook group. And a lot of people can really just, take something from that Facebook group, because there's a lot of others that have posted in there as well. Same on our social feeds, and really just, use that same message in their socials to drive more traffic to themselves. And we're going to, of course, go into great detail to that when we leave the app and move over to LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you what I do personally. Okay. All yours, Brian.
All right. If you guys notice in the top left corner where there's that little owl logo, you're going to see the little 3 bars. We call it the hamburger menu. If you hit that, you're going to see it slide over. And now you can see your invite code. That's your referral code. You can hit that copy link button. That's going to give you actually an entire message to share with people. So that's something you can do when you're inviting people from another platform. Just put that up or send it to them as a private message. Hey, I do all my introductory calls via the Owl platform. If you don't mind, use my code, and that way you can get $10 off. I'll drop my price so it doesn't actually cost you anything, for example, or whatever. Because you could drop your price to $5, for example. Now they can have 2 10-minute segments with you, or a 20-minute segment, for example, for the $10. So in essence, it doesn't cost them anything, but you're now also getting a referral out of it, and hopefully they see the value in becoming a pro account themselves, so that they can also take calls. A lot of what's under the hood here is under the accounts and payments tab. So if you open that, you're going to see very quickly that there's bonuses, there's credits, there's earnings. You can also see your call log down towards the bottom there. And that to me is huge, because now you can not only download it and see your entire call log, but you can actually keep track of who you talk to and a lot going on. Let me stop that incoming call. I can talk to them later. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can do right here. One of the other things is in the bottom left corner, you see pending earnings. So if you go down there, there's no pending earnings on mine, but if you had a call that, for example, dropped in the first minute, then it's going to show up there in the pending earnings. If you have an issue, like maybe somebody is creeping you out or you caught a scammer, you can go to report an issue. This is also where, if there was a problem with the call or the call quality, up at the top there under report an issue, you see there's another tab called request a refund, which I just slid it over there. Now you can actually explain what happened and why you think there should be a refund. So that's one of the cool things. If you had a call, like if you called me, for example, and the call dropped in a minute, or maybe you couldn't hear me, or the timer never started, or whatever, there have been glitches once in a while. We don't want you to just pay and not get a chance to actually connect with that expert. So that's why we have the request a refund option. Anything else, Jason, you want to add right here?
That's fine. The only other thing is, if someone doesn't leave you a review,
Yep.
that will also show up under the request a refund tab. It's our proprietary system that we have designed to give someone an opportunity that made an outbound call, give them the ability to request a refund if needed. Most of the time it's not needed, but I would say 1 out of 20 calls, there's a call drop, and it happens within the first minute. We pretty much can tell, because we're tracking the length of the calls on the back end of our systems, and then we immediately provide that individual refund.
So one other thing, I get a lot of questions, Jason, is if you go back to that hamburger menu and you go down to referrals, I've had a lot of people that have asked me, why they can't find their referral in the platform. And you're going to see here when it loads that there's 2 different categories, if you want to call it that. There are the pro accounts and the non-pro accounts, or the basic user accounts. So you will see the difference right there in the first 2. Adam Kinderman has a basic account, where Amelia has a pro account. So you see the difference. The one owl has a much bigger eyes. The other one has smaller eyes. So therefore you can see the one with the smaller eyes means you can search and find them in the platform. The one with the big eyes is a basic account and you cannot find them. They are invisible, so to speak. They can see you if you have a pro account, but you cannot search and find them. The only way you could ever see their profile is if they called you. You could see them while they were on the phone. Anything else on that, Jason, you want to add?
Nope, that's fine. Keep proceeding.
All right. Let's cover office hours really quickly, because if you go to office hours, this is an important thing to understand. If you turn on a day, like if you pick Monday, for example, at noon or whatever time you pick, you can set the start and end date, for example. But if you turn that on, that means whenever you set that to go on, it's going to go on automatically, even if you're not available. So if you're in a doctor's appointment, or you're on the phone, or you're in an appointment at work, or whatever you're doing, if you forgot that you turned it on, it's going to still automatically turn your Owl profile on, and people can now call you. If you can't get them, or let's say you're away from your phone, for example, it's going to come up as missed calls and going to increase your missed call ratio. So I recommend turning it on, especially till you're more familiar with the platform. Just turn it on when you want to go live and when you're available to take calls. If you're not available to take calls, obviously you won't turn it on unless you want to do it while you're sleeping or something and increase your missed calls. But there's a lot of ways that you could use these office hours, so that if you know you have a set schedule, like every Monday from 9 to noon, for example, you're doing emails, or you know that that's when you're in your office and you could take a call, then you could set it to where it's going to automatically put you on during that time. So that's one of the ways you can use it. Just remember, it will automatically turn you on when you have it set for that date and time.
Yes, and something important to know, that when new people sign up, I see them picking every single day, and it's designed that when you're active on the platform that you're accepting calls. So I think sometimes people think that, oh, I'll just pick everything. If someone calls me, I'll accept or deny the call. But that's not the design of the platform. The design is to be available when you pick those specific times. The other major thing on there is you get an email that's reoccurring based on the length of the schedule that you selected, which is cool because you create a habit. It goes right into your Outlook calendar or your Gmail calendar. So a lot of people like that it creates that calendar request on your behalf. You could continue, Brian.
Okay. There's a lot of ways you can use the platform when it comes to inbound and outbound calls. And I don't know if, Jason, you want to go off the app now and talk about other things, or is there anything else you want to cover specifically on the app?
Let's go into more strategy now.
Okay.
It's going to be in the app, out of the app. Let's stay in the app for a second.
Okay.
Let's just go right to the search functionality, right? Because often what happens is, everyone runs a specific business and they're looking for specific things and types of people to network with, right? When you look at LinkedIn, you specifically look for a certain category, and then you connect with those individuals. And then lots of times your goal is to set up a networking meeting with that individual. So in this case, let's type in podcasting like you have. So hit done, and then hit search. The reason why podcasting is so unique is we partnered with Podfest the last 2 years, and we have over 300 podcasters within the Owl platform. So right here, you could see that there is 2 live. One of them is on the Zoom right now, and she is an Emmy winner, right? So how unique is this, that you could reach out to her for $5 and have an opportunity to network with her and discuss, what are the criteria, what is she looking for the typical guest that she has on. And if you're Sandy, right, and she runs a PR firm, right, her clients typically might be that perfect fit. So here we go. We got Sandy and Uria connecting and pretty much jumping on a call and, forming a collaboration in the future, right? So that's one thing. Next, you could look at all the different types of podcasts that people have. You just keep scrolling down, and you could request that they go live. And you could, of course, take it a step further, right? Of course, Owl's going to send them a text message if they have their cell phone added to their Owl account. It's not a requirement, but what they're also going to get is an email. And you could stop there. Let's just stop at Bruce. So Bruce has over 500 podcasts. And here's Brian Briggs as a different example. Brian has his podcast. You could, request that he goes live, but if he doesn't go live, right, you could message him on LinkedIn. You can message him on Instagram and say, hey, I saw you were on Owl, right? I would love to speak with you. I requested that you went live. Can you make yourself available to chat and let's have a conversation? So you don't always have to rely just on Owl's technology on that request. You could go over to their other messages And you can even comment in one of their posts, be like, hey, I read your owl profile and, would love to have a conversation. And someone like Brian also helps people build their podcasts and scale their podcasts. You could see right there, it says, I'm leveraging what I've learned over the years and while producing and marketing a podcast to 500,000 downloads, right? That's pretty unique. And his wife has a major podcast. I think she gets like 20, 30,000 podcast downloads per month, for example. And he does all the back end for her and all the marketing. So there's one example. But then Brian knows other people within Owl and outside of Owl. So sometimes it starts with one conversation with a podcaster and it leads to other things. So right off the bat, that's one avenue of searching for podcasters. Go backwards, Brian, and let's search for something different, right? So same thing, if we go to the top search bar, Brian could type in anything, take off that and just click done. A lot of people don't realize, but that top search bar, you could type in anything and it screens people's profile. So let's do something on a non-business side. Type in the word cancer. Say you run a nonprofit, right? And you want to talk to people who have overcome, it's spelled wrong, overcome cancer, right? A lot of people will list cancer in their profiles, right? And you could go down and look at all these individuals and do that same exact thing. Chat with them, have a one-on-one conversation, right? So yes, it could be for business purposes for a nonprofit. It also could, be that you want to talk to someone, you're going through something, on a personal level, right? Everyone knows my story. I am fully transparent with what I went through in December with cancer, right? So someone could speak to me about it if they're going through the same situation that I went through in December, right? A lot of people just want a voice to speak with someone. So let's get outside the app for a second, Brian, and I'm going to start sharing some of my strategies on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me stop my screen share here.
And then after we show some ideas, we're going to jump around to Q&A, of course.
Mm-hmm. All right, you can share your screen too. There you go.
Okay. You could see the Owl community page.
Yep.
So right off the bat, if you're not part of this group, I highly recommend joining. This is our private Owl community group. And we pin things to the top that are very useful. So the first one I'm going to open up is this one right here. So we all get messages on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, now Threads, Twitter, right? There's so many platforms out there, Clubhouse, right? And there's more and more apps coming out every single day and more inboxes. It's really hard to use your intuition to figure out who you should jump on a Zoom with or a phone call with these days. And one of the biggest issues is if it's just a phone call, often you have to share your cell phone number, and that gets uncomfortable quick. The next thing you're doing is, if it's not your cell phone, you're sharing your email address typically with them, and you're setting up a Zoom meeting over email. And sometimes that could get uncomfortable because people then hound you and solicit you all the time and add you to their newsletter that you didn't ask to be signed up for, right? So what I've seen happen with a lot of my connection requests on LinkedIn, and you could customize this any way you like. I send them a message that looks like this. Happy to connect. All my intro calls are done through the new app called Owl. You're more than welcome to download it and call me through it. I'm on every Thursday between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a first come basis, as my schedule is extremely busy running a business. This helps filter all the spam here on LinkedIn, and you likely will like for the same reason. And then I tell them to use my referral code. And here's where it's really nice. If you send this message to 10 people who connected with you on LinkedIn, the odds are that you're going to get probably 2 out of 10 that will take you up on the offer to go ahead and download Owl. And that's immediately going to give you $20 worth of Owl dollars, right? We're running a promotion right now that for every friend that you refer, you receive $10, and it's good to make calls for 30 days. And that's pretty unique. So they come in there, they get $10, and if they took the effort, they definitely want to call you, right? And you will get an email that says that they use your referral code when they download it. So now, after they did that, even though you're saying I'm on Thursday from 2 to 3. We know, you probably have more time in your schedule. Most people are in that packed that they're only using Owl 1 hour a week. You can nicely then email the person back after they did, hey, I saw you download Owl. How about, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I'll go live and call me on the platform. So you can utilize, it in different ways. You don't always have to sit back and wait for them to call you, because once they've taken action and they put in the effort to download the Owl app, you know that they're serious, right? And at that point, if you're charging under $10, you know they have enough money to speak with you. Once you get above $10, then of course they're going to have to enter their credit card to put a deposit in. So you have to have, someone that definitely wants to speak with you at that rate, because there's a lot more friction. Of course, if you're an influencer with 1 million followers and you're getting, hundreds of messages every single day, then that's not a big deal, right? You could charge $100, $200 for 10 minutes to chat with you, and you're going to have people lined up. But in reality, 99% of people don't have that power to push people to put their credit card in and charge a very high rate just to have a quick audio call for 10 minutes with them at the end of the day. So that's trick number 1, and it works. Like, here's my real profile, right? And here's my real messages, and here's Augie. I spoke to him today, and literally the message was right here. Now I've transitioned it. Sometimes I go with call me old school. I like to get to know my LinkedIn connections, right? He messaged me back and forth trying to get me on a meeting, and I sent him that message, and he said a normal call, and I said, nope, it takes 5 minutes to download, and then we jumped on a call, and then here we go. Today I'm live, ready to take your call. Yes, sir. 1 sec. At 4 o'clock. Right? And you can see my call log. You'll see Augie is in there under the reviews, and it works perfect. So we all get messages on LinkedIn and Instagram and all these other platforms. And most of the time we say, we'll message them next week, and they just pile up and pile up. My recommendation is build this into your regular routine every single week. You spend 15 minutes taking time to just copying and pasting a message. Take this message, put it in your notepad, and pretty much just copy and paste it. And of course you could alter it. Not every single person you want to send the same message to. Sometimes you want to shift it based on the individual that you're speaking to, but it really helps. It helps filter the right people that you're having conversations with. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, I'm going to go back because we pinned, somebody asked in the chat about when you're going live. Well, we have templates that you could use. Of course, you could customize your own template, but often you'll see me do this on Instagram. I'll post this, I'll put office hours, and this is a blank template. You could take your picture in Owl and crop the top half of Owl, your calls, put it right here, and then just put the time you're going to be live. And what that's doing is it's telling the current audience that is already seeing your content on Instagram or LinkedIn that they have a chance to chat with you one-on-one. And like any marketing, you don't want to just do this once and say it failed. You want to do it all the time, right? Get in that habit of continuously sending outbound messages, telling other people when they could speak with you, because all of a sudden, more your audience starts recognizing, hey, this is how I'm going to speak with Brian Strubhar if I want to get in touch with him. They're not going to waste time, trying to jump on a meeting, and they know he's on Owl. They know that they could get in touch with him, and he told them exactly when and how much he's charging to jump on a call using a template like this. So that is my recommendation, using these templates and just getting in the habit of leveraging the things that are already coming towards you at the end of the day. Brian, anything you want to add on both of those topics so far, of telling people when you're live or
just
LinkedIn?
a slight tweak. A lot of us have our own personal websites as well. And one of the things I've done is I took the little share button. If you go to your own Owl profile, in the far upper right corner, you'll see a little arrow. That's actually a share button and will give you a link to your own profile. If you do that, I use that and I create a button on my website. and you could use this even on your socials if you wanted to, but I do it as a call me now button. And that way they don't have to have my email or my phone number on my website. And I've had people literally download the app and call me directly because they saw something that piqued their interest on my website. So use that as another option. It helps them to self-eliminate themselves, if you want to call it that, or to weed themselves out if they're not serious. If they're serious and want to have a conversation, it's just allowing them the avenue, so to speak, to reach you and have a one-on-one conversation. So it's pretty cool. Yes, you can use that also on your Facebook posts. Let them know if they use your referral code, they're going to get $10, etc. So there's a lot of ways you can use that, but that's where I like to have it out there. And what that really does is it turns your websites and socials, all the content you're already putting out, it just makes that into a funnel. It takes the most interested people and gives them an option to reach out to you and have a conversation.
Brian, can you show us where you got that link, a personal link again, one more time?
It's in the very far upper corner. If you have Owwll open on your phone,
Yeah.
and if you go right to the upper corner of your own profile or anybody's profile, you can actually grab a link to anybody's personal profile.
Oh, I see where it says share.
Yep.
Okay, never seen that before. I got you.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. Great, thank you.
It's really a cool feature because now you have a direct link right to your own
awesome.
profile. So if they have the app and they are on your website, they click that, it opens your profile and they can hit call. So it's really freaking cool. And that's where I think so many people don't realize that's even there, and that you can now, in essence, turn all of your sites and socials into a funnel that directs people who are serious to how they can have a conversation.
And right here is an example. Iante posted, talked to me on an Owwll app right here. And, here's the difference. I added this profile right here, right? Because I reshared it, right? Right now, if they did it the way that she had it, what's going to happen is they have to go into the app and then search for her, right? And of course, they can misspell her name. It's hard to find her. She's buried in the search. They don't know how to use Owwll. But if you put your link to your profile right here, then they can't make that error, of course. It will go right to her. So that's definitely something we would recommend.
Yep. And Marilyn has her hand up. Do you want to take questions now, or do we want to do that more towards the end?
If it's related to that, we could answer it.
Yeah.
If not, I want to go back into the app for a second, and I want to show some other items.
It is related. I just wanted
Perfect.
you to tell me where did you tell us to look for that link at? I'm on the app now.
So Brian, why don't you share the screen, because I'm going to go back in the app for a second. We're going to keep bouncing in the app, out of the app.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me reshare that. Share screen.
There's a couple ways to get to your profile. The bottom right is the easiest. It has a little headshot, or the top left under the menu has your headshot. And then once you're in your actual profile, and this goes for anyone's profile, I'm taking everybody else's links every single day and I'm sharing it and then adding their profile, because you could refer somebody, right? Law of reciprocation. When people need help with something, say you should talk to this individual and just share their profile.
Yep. So if you notice here on my profile, in the top right corner, it has that black with the gold writing. It says share. If you hit that, it's going to give you a pop-up menu that you can copy the URL. You can do a nearby share, or you can text it. You can share it through all your other options down below. So there's lots of options there to share that. I always just hit copy URL, and then I use that as a direct link right to my profile. Yep. Does that answer that question, Marilyn?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so while we're on the app, I'm going to start talking about some advanced strategies on the new Owwlls. So new Owwlls are excited to download the platform, not download, use the platform, right? They've downloaded it. They've signed up. They've put, $10 in to have an Owwll searchable profile that's visible, and they go live, right? They're excited to take a call. New Owwlls are required to take 10 phone calls before they get the privilege to alter their price. So Brian, go ahead to new Owwlls and hit view all. And then I want to show them how to every week log in and follow people So they get the most out of the new owl. So when you go to filter at the top right under new owls, and remember you have to hit new owls, then you hit filter. Brian, you're going,
I'm already on new owls. I just hit view all right on new owls.
oh, no, but I was going to show them. No, hit filter
Okay.
and then hit view all owl, new owls, view over there, and just hit the filter button. And then go calls taken low to high. And now what that is doing is anyone who's new has 0 calls taken. So when you do it like this, right after the live people show up, you see how Carrie is there. She has 0 calls, right? Then you see Dr. Cynthia Simmons. You still have a filter on. You have cancer on, right?
Oh, yeah. Hold
Oh
on.
my gosh, I'm gonna call her tonight as soon as we get done. She's in Alpharetta. I'm 15 minutes from her. I live right next door to her in her city.
Hold on. It wasn't searching right because it had 2 things up at the same time. So that technically you're on all owls, Brian. You got to go to new owls.
There is no new owl feature.
No. Go to home.
Oops, hold on.
You jumped over to all owls.
Okay.
And this is why this gets very advanced, what we're showing you. So you and Brian is jumping from one category to the next.
Filter.
So when you hit new owls and then hit the filter button, because what this is just saying all the new people and you're filtering that from calls taken low to high. There you go. So now what's happening is, whoever's live will show up the lowest calls to highest, but now you see Mark, right? See how he wasn't following him, now he is. And Maurice Thomas and Renee Thomas and Sean Shea. So all these people have, recently in the last 30 days downloaded Owl and have very few calls. They're going to make themselves available at some point on the Owl app. So the advantage is that you're getting the opportunity to connect with someone at $1. It's practically free. And you have a very high probability of getting on a call with them in the next 30 days, because who in their right mind is spending $10 and then not taking the time to make themselves available to take a call, right? So that's why I wanted you to see how to search new owls, because you get the best bang for your buck by calling new people, okay? And remember, new people, are open to collaborations more than anyone. They just joined this app. If they have a podcast, and you say, hey, could I join you on the show? You have a higher probability of getting on if you're one of the earlier callers, right? They're new, right? They see the platform, they're getting, a good vibe from that phone conversation. So being, first to call them and also sharing a tip or two with them, they're never going to forget that, right? Most people, when they join new platforms, have that first experience that's unforgettable. So it's a good thing to be their first incoming call and make it a good experience. So everyone always looks at me like, Jason, how do you have enough time in a day to get to the call volume that you have? And it's exactly what I do. I go in here, I follow all the new owls, and most new owls, if some of you are on this call right now on the Zoom, I've actually called you. And it's really because I'm one of their first 5 followers, right? I'm getting a notification when they go live. And then what I do is I just stop getting a notification once I've spoken to that individual. So my phone's not getting bugged all day. I get very few notifications from Owl. I just get the correct notifications that I want to receive from Owl at the end of the day. So that's the value in calling new people. Brian, do you want to add anything to that subject?
No, not on the new owls. That's good. You covered it well.
Cool. Okay. Let's go over to letting me share my screen. I want to go back outside Owl for a second,
Okay.
because it kind of has something to do with this as well. So every week we post experts, and these experts will be folks like Carl Rimmy, right? Carl Rimmy was on the Owl podcast. And what we do is, here's the secret: whatever guests we have on the Owl podcast that Wednesday, typically they join the platform that day or the day after as an Owl expert. So these folks have been filtered through our show, right? We're looking for, people with large social followings, elite experts. We've had pro athletes on. We've had some big influencers with 10, 12 million followers. And the benefit that you get is if you follow them after we post on social media, you know that there's a good chance that they're going live within the next 7 days on the Owl app. So right off the bat, when you look at all these different ones that we're featuring every week, here's Raquel and Demetrio. They came from my other podcast, The Shrimp Tank. I run 2 shows. So every single week, you're getting 2 new experts that are joining Owl, and you have a chance to chat with the business owner or an expert or influencer that has heavily been filtered, before getting onto the platform. And they're only $1. So what an opportunity. If every month you spoke to half of that group, 4 out of the 8, by doing the strategy that I just showed you, that is incredible. It is so hard to get in touch with some of these business owners that we have on the Owl app, and that's phenomenal. And here's an example of just law reciprocation. I was in a Facebook group in Podfest, and I asked what camera to purchase, and Junaid, was somebody who gave me great advice on a camera. So was Billy Thorpe, and people tagged Junaid and Billy Thorpe in the comments of a Facebook post. And what's really cool is I wanted to actually speak with him. He happened to be an Owl. What I did is I messaged him in the group. I said, hey, love to chat. I'll request that you go live on Owl. He went live on Owl. And he has not been live on Owl, for over a year. He downloaded it. And back then we didn't have as many bells and whistles as we do today. He went live on Owl, and I had a great conversation. And, later the next day, I bought the camera that he recommended, and he helped me out. It does go a step further. I'm a big believer of law reciprocation. So then I featured him on the Owl app, right? And I like giving back to people who give to me. And the reason why I bring the part about law reciprocation is that works on Owl. The more people that you speak with and then refer them to other people, they're then going to say, hey, who you should speak with? That other individual, right? They're going to then turn around and say, speak with this person. And a person who does a great job of that is Daniel Hall. He has a few hundred calls on this platform as well. And he consistently will have conversations and then post about the conversations on LinkedIn. They'll say, hey, I had a great conversation with Brian Strubhar, and, he helped me with X, Y, or Z. And how good does it feel when Brian sees, one day he wakes up, post about a conversation that he helped that individual out with, right? So with Owl, it's no different. It's just the law of reciprocation. If you're always just making calls and not reciprocating back, you're never gonna, get those other incoming calls that come out of the blue from internally within the Owl platform. And this tactic can work with Facebook groups. So remember, if you need guidance from someone in a Facebook group that you're posting a certain subject that you need knowledge about, don't be scared to message them. Hey, I'd love to talk. Most of those DMs, what's going to happen? People will give you a little bit of advice on a Facebook group, and then they really don't want to spend time on Zoom or give you their contact information, jump on a call. So they end up getting ignored, right? But with Owl, you could actually message them in the Facebook group, say, hey, I would love to chat. I'm happy to, pay the fee. Would you, go on Owl and I could call you? And they're going to say, what is Owl? And then you say, oh, it's a platform where, things like this, I could pay to, get knowledge from you. And then all of a sudden they could download Owl at the end of the day. Okay. So those are some of the strategies that I personally use within Instagram, within LinkedIn. Brian, anything else you want to add before we open it up to Q&A?
So the only thing I would add, just to pique your interest, and you're welcome to call me one-on-one on Owl if you like, is you can use this platform, Owl. Like I said earlier, it's like an Owl toolbox, but what if you make the outbound call? So many people are missing the power of making the outbound call, because now, in a sense, who controls that conversation? It's the person paying for it. And so you get to ask the questions you want. You get to discuss what you want, whether it's help for your own business and maybe you need assistance, or whether you're literally looking to get on their podcast. Maybe you're looking to get them on your podcast. You now control that conversation. You get to have it when you want, with who you want. And so don't forget, the true power of this tool is in your hands based on who and when you want to make those calls. So that's the power of it. And if you learn how to use the outbound call, I can show you how to ask the right questions to get clients on demand, because a lot of businesses are looking for new clients. So if you want new clients and you have, the space to take on new clients, I can help you, customize questions that you can now ask people even on outbound calls. So if you're curious about that, or you want some, personalized help, definitely reach out to me on Owwll and I'll be happy to help you with that. But let's go to Q&A, Jason.
Yeah, shoot. Go to Q&A. Absolutely. Feel free to raise your
right.
hand and jump in and ask some questions.
Yep. Raise your hand and you can, there we go. We've got Rhea raised her hand. Go ahead, Rhea. You just have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. Hey, Jason, everybody. Just have two quick questions. Hey, I'm requesting to go live with some people right now as we're doing this. So I'm really doing a lot more outbound calls on purpose now. And I'm searching now, thanks to your help, that I can search people that are local to me as well.
Correct.
So how can we tell? Like Cassandra Williams, she hasn't taken any calls. She lives right next door to me in this area. How can I tell if she's new or if she's just dormant? And when I request for her to call me, maybe she hasn't been on in a year, like Jason was saying, the other guy. So how do I know of like the date they started so I can see if they're just dormant and I will request on other platforms and they're just not using the platform, or if they're new? Is there a way to see the date they started?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't list the date that they downloaded the app. So there is, a likelihood that Cassandra might have been on the app when we were in beta even. Before we were in the App Store, we had about 1,000 people that utilized our platform. We were not charging. They just downloaded it, and really almost everyone became experts right away back in the day. And they didn't take any calls. And likely what's going to happen if you hit the request to go live button, you're just going to get an email.
Okay.
And a lot of them didn't even have their cell phone numbers connected then. And they have a choice. They have a choice to read the email. They're going to get the email 100% because their emails are on file. And they can't opt out of those emails when they have an Owwll profile. So at the end of the day, it does something. It sometimes will get them to update their app and download it again because they see that somebody has requested to speak with them. Or they could choose to ignore it. So I say is, just connect with a bunch of people, but you could also take it a step further by messaging them on their social account that's linked. Say,
I'm
hey,
gonna do that.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, just go in there and say, hey, I saw you're on Owwll and I live in Atlanta as well. Love to chat. There's so many opportunities on Owwll. When you really search the amount of experts, we have 1,700 experts approximately on Owwll. We have movie directors, like the person who directed the last couple Saw movies. His next Saw movie's coming out. I follow along on his Instagram account. He did a post when we were in our beta days, how cool Owwll was. And he got over 100 people from the Hollywood area to download Owwll. So you go in there and just hit request to go live. And then pretty much you'll get, even if you don't get the chance to connect with them when they do go live, you'll wake them back up and one day you'll reconnect and just utilize it no different than the way everyone pushes messages on LinkedIn and Instagram. You think how much people struggle to get meetings on these platforms these days, but Owwll, like they signed up for an account. They know what it's for. So you have way better odds doing what you just said and getting a meeting with them and opening up some fantastic opportunities, because guess what, guys? There's only 15 people that joined tonight. So you're going to be the only 15 people that are requesting that people go live. And if you do that strategy by then requesting and messaging, I mean, just think about how many meetings you're going to schedule, and almost all of them have their price listed at $1, and I'll explain why. We're in beta, there was no real money. It was put your price at $1. It's all play money. And then when we launched real money, I said, please keep your money at $1. We're just testing the buckets of money to see if it worked. We do not want you to deposit, and we do not want you to withdraw. So that being said, you have all these fantastic opportunities sitting there at $1 to request to go live. And then if they do, they're probably not going to change the price, right? Most of them can't because they don't have 10 calls.
Yeah, cool. I love that. Love that. My other question, last one, is what does a featured owl mean? I noticed that I was on the featured owl list. Like, ooh, what does that mean? What's that criteria?
It's because you had me on your podcast.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So pretty much when people download the app, Of course, I'm seeing, you know, their follower count, right? Because I'm approving them personally still to this day. So if I see someone has a certain size follower account, often I'm putting them under the featured category. And then over time, we rotate the featured experts. You know, if we
Gotcha.
see someone like Junaid, who then like law reciprocation, he helped me out, I threw him up there on the featured owl category. So currently it's just a manual process of putting people under the featured category.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This is very informative. Thank you, Brian and Jason, for all this.
Absolutely. Shirley.
Thank you. This is really rich. Thank you very much. I feel I feel like a dumb blonde. Can you tell us, please, how to do a video? I've tried hundreds of times, I promise you.
Okay, so video on our platform, we will only allow videos 10 seconds to 60 seconds long and under 50 megabytes in size. So often, you know, videos that are edited through Canva end up getting too large. So couple tricks. Sometimes you could take the video and you could email it to yourself. Platforms like Gmail will shrink the size. And then if you email it to yourself and re-download it and then try uploading it, sometimes that works. Two, just a regular video shot that you're not editing. That typically will work very well. I would not focus heavily on worrying about the video section of our app. That's actually coming down. So we have recognized that most people are using the videos only for their own profile. When someone searches for you, they look at the videos often, and then they make a call, but they're not going to the video section and scrolling through videos. We're actually replacing that with a very big feature that we think is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a chat forum, not a typical chat forum. It's going to be a forum where you list something that you're in the need of, like I was with a camera right last week. I'm like, hey, does anyone know, you know, what camera I should buy for my podcast? And then the community will chat in there and say, you should speak to Junaid. He knows, you know, what camera to use for your podcast. And Junaid will get a notification. And then, you know, I could get the opportunity to call him immediately. So I wouldn't heavily be focused really on the videos other than the ones for your own profile, which will be just like, hey, I'm Shirley. You know, call me on Owl to chat with me about X, Y, or Z. You know, make it a little bit of a commercial, or you know, if you have other videos that you've already created, just try to shrink them down if you can to get them in there. And we as a brand will, you know, it's on our to-do list to increase the file size. It's just not the main thing of our app right now. We, of course, our main focus is the calls and not so much the videos. So that's just something that, you know, one day will get enhanced, but for the time being, it will be kind of what it is. Okay.
Great question though,
Cool.
Shirley, and we're going to have to wrap it up shortly. Tracy, what's your question really quick?
Okay, it's real quick. On this app, how do I change the background here?
Oh, your
told me
cover
that I
photo.
could,
That's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
point. So on your cover photo, if you go to edit profile, you should see, or to your own profile, you should be able to hit edit profile. And in the
Mhm.
upper right corner of your cover photo, you should see a little pencil. If you click on that
Yes.
little pencil, it should open that up. The hardest part is finding the correct pixels by the width and the height. So just
Okay.
play with that, you know, crop a picture back and forth until you figure it out. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Jason might be
Okay.
able to get you more of the specifics, but basically just play with it.
It's in the
Okay.
Facebook. It's in the Facebook group. Someone posted about that recently, actually. Last like 10 posts. You scroll, have the dimensions. Just go to Canva, make one, or just take your LinkedIn, you know, one that you currently have, and usually you
Yeah.
just shrink it down a little bit, and it
Got it.
works.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
great question. All right,
Cool.
guys. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. I know we have to run. We've got other meetings and other things coming up. So we had a hard stop here at 8 o'clock, but we appreciate you guys, and I look forward to connecting with you.
One
on the
last thing,
hour.
Brian. One
Yes.
last thing that I said, that if you come to it, that you would get some special promo. I like ending things for hanging
Yep.
out with us. So we just saw an awesome idea requesting people to go live. So what we're going to do is, if you request somebody to go live, right, that has not been on the app for more than 30 days, right? You can see that based on their reviews. All I want to do is, if you get them to go live and you have a conversation, just take a screenshot of their profile, send it over to me. You're going to get a $10 bonus. Okay, because I
Cool.
really want to really show you like that's the power. Request people to go live, have conversations, and build opportunities for your business at the end of the day. So just take a screenshot, email it to feedback@owwll.com. Someone who has not been on the app for 30 days plus. Okay. All yours,
Fantastic.
Brian. Take us out.
Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll try to make the recording available to you as well. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome